Everyone. So we're gonna go over the watch list like usual. Hope everyone looked through it a little bit. If not, you're gonna get a little overview here. So as usual, we're gonna start with SPY and ES. And SPY, as you can see, has been basically sitting in this area. Been pulling back the past few days. These 2 days ending green. This one on Friday ending red. And ES on the daily, really doesn't look that bad, but we are getting topped out a little bit, it seems, and want to see how that reacts. So far, we're hitting off this 14 SMA and we're bouncing. So we'll see how it truly reacts tomorrow. The big breakout points I have written in the watch list that was sent out to everyone is a break over 39.30 and then a break under 38.76 for the downside. So 39.30 for above and 38.76 for below. That's what we're watching for that. Now we're going to go into our first play and the usual FLNT. So I have a lot of lines here. I just wanted to show, different possible setups we could be looking at here. And so let me first go to a weekly chart so everyone could see this. And you can see we broke out of the cup here and basically made a little handle on this side right here, like I showed you a few weeks ago. You see we straightly broke out of that and went higher. So now we can settle around this 52-week high of 740 for a few days before we get a bigger move higher into this 9 fib. March 12th is the earnings for FLNT. Let me put this here. And you're going to see we're going to have a lot of support around this 7 to 730 area. We're going to have a lot of support around 740, 750. So we're going to make that our true support going forward, 730 to 750. And you can see we broke out of a monthly, almost a 5 to 6 year long-term downtrend here going down. And you could see I drew this as our breaking point around 740, 750. That's where a lot of resistance was in the past years. And you can see the downtrend that I have here. And we broke out of that on that downward line that I've drawn there. And you can see in truly, this could be a major rounding bottom forming over the monthly chart since 2009. And basically, hold on, let me see if I could draw this. We could have something like that. I know this is messed up over here, but it could be something like that. And we could be having a long rounded bottom, just like Jemiah, another play that we had. And if we go to the weekly, it looks a little bit better here. And I kind of drew the same thing, and you could see we had the major rounding bottom since, well, this one IPO'd in 2019, but you can see the rounding bottom. Then you could see it, kind of sat at that cup, did a little handle, and then broke out. Another name we could look at is Blackberry. Let me just double check. I may be wrong on this one, but I do know on the monthly chart, this one had the same thing, a downward trend for 5 to 10 years, and then you see we broke out of that trend and we went a lot higher. Obviously, I know the market was crazy a month ago with all the news with GameStop and everything, including Blackberry, but this one could be sending out for a bigger move soon as well. So watch this one too. But yeah, I'm just trying to show you examples of what Flint could possibly do in that regard. I think if we even look at apps, yeah, this one's not going to be that good because there was some reverse splits on this name. But I mean, if you really wanted to go back and say something, I mean, I guess you could say it, but I'm not going to do that just because it had a lot of reverse splits in the past. So what we're looking at here is a base of 730 to 770. I know that's a bit of a range, so around 40 cents. And every exceeding day, you want to kind of see higher in a bit. And this is a nice pullback candle after we broke out on huge volume. Actually, the most volume we had, I think, in this stock's history in one day. So major accumulation over these past few weeks, past few months, and you could see the volume bars are actually getting higher each time we go higher, which is very interesting to see. So that's a strong, set of accumulation for a possible big move higher in this name. Another play I want to go through that is not on the watch list, but is actually a long-term play now. Sadly, I saw this one at around $7 to $8. Did not take a bite. This is a strong quarter-over-quarter earnings growth stock, as well as earnings per share and revenue quarter-over-quarter and year-over-year growth stock. And you can see we're in this little range here. This being the demand zone, and this being the supply zone. We entered on Friday at around 1340, 1350. And we're looking for a breakout over that 15 area going into the 20s in the next few weeks. So we will sit on this name. They have a lot of growth, and I think this could be a $25 to $30 stock, in a few months. In a few weeks, this could definitely be over 20, definitely 15 for sure. Now we're going to go back into another stock that I don't have on the watch list. I'm just going to go over these really quickly, and then we'll get back into the watch list. Kmph. So this one's a little more risky. It's a biotech stock. I'm looking at longer term dated calls going into August and October, and they're pretty cheap at around $2 per call per option. And I'm going to buy 50 contracts. I wrote this out Friday afternoon on Twitter. I'm going to buy 20 of the August and 30 of the October, or it might be September. I'm not sure, but it's one of those dates. And then I think it's the 15 or 17.5 calls, and look for a major run up. They have a lot of catalysts in the future. They just did an uplist from OTC to NASDAQ. They got rid of basically 80 to 90% of their debt and did an offering with that. So this is a low float with 9% short, and I think this could get a massive move. Going back into play like this. Now, TNDM, I remember when this was a $1 stock just a few years ago, and I didn't expect anything of it. And as you could see, it hit a high of 124. So, this could possibly be a play like that. It could possibly be a play like this. It goes from $6 to 120. So this is what we're looking at here. That's the possible upside. I'm not saying we're going to get to 100. I'm basically just saying that we could get to, these areas up here, 20, 25, 30. And I think there's a lot of upside here compared to the risk downwards. Like I said, I'm only putting, a small amount of options in it compared to my risk. So it's not really a risky play for me as well. So now let's get back to the watch list. We have 4 more plays here. Over ITP. This is one I like a lot. I've seen a lot of people talk about possible mask news on this name, and I know they are making masks and selling them. I know their earnings have actually increased due to this as well, so that's another possible factor in this. But I will not be holding this long term. It'll only be for a short term swing. We entered in this, I believe, Tuesday or Wednesday of this week, and we're looking for a move over 150 going into the $2 range within a week or so. My loss will be out under 110. 110 is where I'd sell out for a loss. And this is a good buying area around this 120 to 125 range. So try to get that if you can. And you have your stop set below. Now Fubo, you could see this is kind of a really weird rounded bottom. You could see it, settled obviously after the big push, went all the way back down and now came back up. And we're forming a mini, channel here. Possibly, like I said, it could be a pretty crazy cup and handle. And this one's due for a breakout, in the near future. I started a long position on this Friday with shares, looking to add more shares and calls. I did not start a call position on this, and I've seen a lot of people relate this to Roku's breakout a few months ago. Hold on. Trying to see where it is. Um, I can't find it on the chart, but yeah, I think these are very good buying areas for Fubo around the 40 to 45 range. And I'm going to be starting to add more shares and calls in this position. I want to go 2022 January and 2023 January calls for this, as well as add more shares for a possible upside of $100 within by the end of this year, truly. This is a big moving name, and there's been a lot of institutional owners, grabbing this up. Palantir, another long-term favorite here, started a position again Friday, had a long-term from around maybe $20, I believe, or something like that. Um, and I closed it around these 35 to 40 ranges. And what I'm really looking for here is to truly grow a large position in this one. Same thing here, January 22nd calls, January 2023 calls, and shares. I'd go a little more heavy on the shares on here. They have a lot of government contracts and stuff like that. And, if you look at this volume accumulation as well, you see a lot of green here. I know we went up on these days. And, you know, this is insane volume right here. And I know Kathy, uh, sorry, Kathy has loaded a lot of shares here. And I think in the past week she got around 7 to 10 million. So, that's a big bet there. And I know she has a lot of money under her fund, but I know she also has bought many more shares of this company. I know a lot of other institutional investors bought a lot here too. So this is a great buying area under 30. If we can get 27 again, I'd start to really, really add the position there. And a strong bullish abandoned baby setup here with this candle right here. And if you look at the recent post I retweeted on Twitter, you'll see a set of candlestick patterns that I have, and this is a clear example of the bullish abandoned baby, one of my favorite setups to watch. Usually calls for a strong reversal as well. And lastly, ONTX. So we'll go into this one. I've been seeing a lot of big names talk about this one. And, truly, it's in a strong uptrend. They do have catalysts coming. A great buy would be in the 150 to 170 range. So around a 20-cent range, and try to grab up the shares in that area. And, you're looking for a move up to this 240, 250 area. At least over two is, what I'm looking for here. And other than that, just try to play it smart in that regard. The market overall can dip, anytime over these next few days, over these next few weeks. We had the dip back here around a few weeks ago, going from 38.50 to 36.50. And, that was a good dip, but you just want to be cautious and be careful of how we're kind of, stuck here at these ranges. And if we go into that 38.76, we can go lower. So we've been straight up since, well, obviously since March and April of last year, and since since the end of October going into November. So we went up 800 points in that regard here. So we could touch that 39.70, 4,000 level and possibly take a dip, or we can go a little bit higher into the 4,100, 4,200 before we get a dip. But either way, we are going to retest this 3,500 and 3,600, sooner or later. So I just want everyone to be cautious and slowly adding positions. And, you know, it's all about saving your money and trying to limit some risk. That's all. So, thank you guys for joining. I'll be posting this video very shortly. And other than that, have a great night and a great week of trading.